Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I am having a terrible day, so I am going to answer yet another one of my philosophical questions, which is, what is your idea of an ideal society? And I'm going to have myself a drink. The ice is no doubt frozen to the bottom of this, so ideal society. Socrates said that it was a philosopher king. Before I get any further into that, let me remind you that for every 1,000 subscribers I get, I do purchase one of these bracelets from the company 4Ocean. 4Ocean pulls a pound of trash out of the ocean every time I do that. If you would be so kind as to comment, like, and subscribe, you'd be doing your part for a better world. Now, the problem with an ideal society is that if men were angels, any government would work. Because if we had an altruistic look at things, we would, by definition, we wouldn't need laws. It's one of those things. We obviously need a certain level of law. I mean, the Republican idea is very much existentialist. According to Henry David Thoreau, who said, the best government is that which governs least, and therefore the best government is that which governs not at all. This doesn't work. You cannot have anarchy. You cannot have a government without laws and treaties and things of that nature. You have to have some amount of governance. And now we have our capitalist system, and the problem with the capitalist system, of course, is that there's huge abuses, and, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, and, people say, well, it's their own fault, they made mistakes in life. Yeah, it's not how it works. I've worked with too many poor people. You can make no mistakes in life, and the system can still chew you up and spit you out. You could say, well, you could have made better decisions. I made the best decisions I could with the situations I had in life, and I'm still here, which is nowhere. So that doesn't work. And, one of the things that's been a real bane of my existence is people going, well, you need the job. I was with the longest company I was with them for 7 years. And they replaced me with somebody who made 50 cents less an hour. And they were like, well, you need a job, so, we can do anything we want to you. And this was after the crash of 2008, which, we were getting 99 weeks of unemployment back then. It was really terrible finding a job. And I remember, I had applied for a job and gotten it months after the fact. So that's how that went. So one of those things that, we can deal with as a base society is that there's such a thing as a, base income. A base income essentially means that poor people get so much per week or per month or whatever it is. And you're always going to get that no matter what you do or say. And then, this has got to be supported by a capitalist economy, okay? Communist economies like China, for example, I have spent the last day looking at things that are happening in China. The problem with China, of course, is that there's a lot of corruption. And corruption is the main way people get ahead in life. And this was the same problem with Russia. When Russia attacked Ukraine, all their military vehicles had tires that kept blowing out, so they had to halt their advance. If that hadn't happened, Russia would have taken Ukraine before the world could have reacted. But when Russia's advance halted because of these cheap tires that they bought from China, it's basically halted the war and allowed the Ukrainians to mount a solid defense. This is just one of those things, you know. And why did they have these cheap Chinese tires? Well, because the people that bought the tires were like, we've got so much money to buy tires, and if we buy these cheap tires, we can keep the money. That's just one of those things that happens quite a lot, you know. So, communism is a very corrupt system. You have to have a system where people can lose their jobs, people can get ahead in life, and there is a reason to work. You have to have an aspiration, because you know what? If you live in a world where a bus driver, this is a Russian thing, a bus driver makes more than a doctor, who would be a doctor? Okay? One of those nightmares in Russia is that you have to bribe your doctor to get penicillin, and if you don't bribe your doctor, you know, oh, well, I'm sorry, we can't help you. Yeah, we have universal health care, but we can't help you unless you've got the cash to buy that penicillin, because this stuff is traded illegally. And that's just one of those things. So it's, yeah, I believe it's like the Netherlands or Norway or something, some extremely white country where everybody has a universal income, you know, and then based on that universal income, they have a capitalist economy where it's like, yes, you know, no matter how poor I am, I always have food, I always have shelter, I always have clothing, I'm going to be fine. And then I can get as rich as I want to. Now, I do believe in that system they do have a lot of taxes, okay? It's not as if they don't have taxes. Taxes are part of life. And yeah, you know, rich people are, well, why should I pay all these taxes? I'm making the money. I'm providing jobs. It's like, yeah, but, you know, there was a time when if you had a job, if you had a full-time job, that was it. You were fine. There was no being unemployed and being homeless. You were either one or the other. If you had a job, the amount of money, I mean, maybe you had to wait till Friday, but, you know, you could literally, in most cases, get a note from your employer saying, you know, hey, dude, write me a note, put your phone number on it, say I have a job. You go to a hotel, say, look, there's a note from my employer. He's gonna start paying me. I'm gonna have the money. Put me up for the night. And, you know, obviously there would be hotels that would have said no, but there would have been plenty that said yes, because that was the world they lived in. If you had a job, you had enough money to survive. That's not the world we live in now, okay? The minimum wage keeps going up and up and up, and the more it goes up, the more we get charged, you know? Rents are too high and pay is too low. So essentially, the ideal society based on solid research is one wherein you have a capitalist economy supporting a socialist safety network, all right? Now, I mean, understand that a pure capitalist economy is one where everything is privatized. Somebody owns the freeway, not the government, and you've got to pay a toll to use it, all right? You know, and hey, you got to get to work, right? Streets are private. You got to pay for everything because everything is privatized. And I mean, privatization is neither good nor bad. It's something that needs to be applied properly. The privatization of space, all right, is a good thing because there's money to be made there. And if there's money to be made there, people are going to press for innovation. That's how the world works. Okay, we have to have this capitalist society in order to create innovation. If there's no money in developing new drugs, if there's no money in developing new technologies, then no one's going to do that. But in a world where we do develop these things, It's one of those things. I should be able to say, you know what? I'm not going to work in an environment that's dangerous to me or that's going to destroy my life. And I should still be able to survive. Maybe not afford a nice car or good things, but survive. Basic living. And then it's like, okay, any job I get, well, if they don't treat me right, I know where the door is. I can walk away and still be okay. In a world where that's not true, abuse is common. And I mean, look, I've seen things. I've lost jobs because I saw the wrong thing. And that's just the world we live in. Okay? So there are situations where it's like, what I should have done, the smartest thing for me to do would have been to get up and walk away. The job just didn't pay enough. I was working too hard for the money. It caused too many problems for me. And there are occasions where it's like there was one job they just wanted me to drive, a couple jobs. They just wanted me to drive too far to work. And it's like, look, I can't put my paycheck in my gas tank. It doesn't work that way. And some of them I walked away from and some of them I didn't. But if you make it so that people don't need that job, suddenly the employer has got to treat their workers better. And if the employer treats their workers better, it gives you a more robust and stable economy. I read an essay in college about a man who was trained by McDonald's to be a manager. And McDonald's, the corporate McDonald's, had, at least at the time, an idea that if we mistreat our workers, they'll do what we want. We'll have a high turnover rate, and we won't have to pay people raises. McDonald's was a hellhole, but people needed jobs. Maybe things are different now. I don't know. I can tell you this much, I'd rather go to a mom and pop shop than McDonald's, but there aren't a lot of them around anymore. Even then, if McDonald's, it was a corporate McDonald's exclusively. It was not any McDonald's, so I don't know. But yeah, the ideal society has an appropriate safety net for all people so that no one has to do something they think is dangerous or mentally destructive for work. No one has to be a prostitute. No one's going to starve if they don't work. But it has a capitalist economy so that people have an incentive to work hard. Now, you're going to find abuses no matter what the economy is. There are people that sit there on welfare. And I mean, my mother was one of those people that she'd say, people on welfare don't bathe. What do you mean, Mom? They can't afford soap. It's like, okay, well, that's not entirely true, but it's understood. She was afraid of her children going on welfare. That was a different world then, though. It's not as much of a stigma now. Anyway, thank you for sharing this moment with me. I'm Richard.
Danger Ducky says, this is your magic moment. A moment for you to do something that is good for the world. You can comment, like, and subscribe, because for every 1,000 subscribers this channel gets, they will buy one of these bracelets I am wearing. Each one of these bracelets I am wearing means that one pound of trash will be removed from the ocean. Cleaning the ocean is an expensive thing to do, and we need your help, so don't be trash. Comment, like, and subscribe, and get trash out of the ocean.